So, what are our biggest problems in society? What if they aren't actually about politics, but about the very systems we use to organize ourselves? Today, we're going to dive into a pretty radical new idea for governance called Cloud Atlas OS. It's basically a proposal for a complete reboot of how we work together. Let's get into it. So, to really get what this project is trying to solve, its founder wants us to start with a little thought experiment. I want you to picture the absolute worst thing you can possibly imagine. I mean, something truly horrible, like witnessing a violent crime or even an act of war. You got it? Okay, hold that thought.
Okay, so you're witnessing that awful event. What are you legally allowed to do about it right then and there without getting yourself arrested or hurt? The truth is, your options are pretty limited. You can call 911, sure. You can hold up a sign, start a petition, organize a protest online. These are basically the pre-approved sanctioned tools that society gives us to work with.
And the source material has a name for this whole setup: the golden cage. It's a really powerful metaphor, right? It's golden because, look, it gives us stability, it gives us order, some level of safety. But it's a cage because it really limits our power to act directly and effectively when we see something wrong. It just channels all of that energy into this very narrow set of approved activities. So, if we go along with this idea that we're living in a kind of golden cage, the next question is pretty obvious, isn't it? Is there a way out? Well, the folks behind Cloud Atlas OS say yes, there is. But here's the twist. It's not about breaking the bars of the cage. It's about using what they call a legal lockpick. And this is the really crucial point. The idea isn't to go out and invent some new illegal way to protest. No. Instead, it's all about taking those legally permitted tools we already have, the petitions, the crowdfunding, the organizing, and using them in a completely new way that just dramatically amplifies their power. The whole goal is to flip the script, but from inside the system's own rules. So think about how things usually work, right? Traditional activism is, well, it's fragmented. A petition is over on one website, your fundraiser is on another, and the actual organizing happens on a totally different app. Cloud Atlas OS wants to solve that. The idea is to bundle all of it, everything, into a single integrated platform. That way you turn all these isolated actions into coordinated, high-visibility missions that have a real network effect.
Okay, so let's get into the platform itself. How does it actually work? How does it bundle all these tools together to create that coordinated impact?
The creators have this great analogy for it. They say it's like if Spontext and Fix My Street had a baby with Kickstarter and Change.org. You see what they're getting at? It's a mix of organizing real-world events, fixing local problems, raising money, and petitioning for change, all in one spot. It's this idea of a single, seamless platform for action. Basically, it's government by doing, not just by voting.
And there are some really interesting features here designed to get people engaged. The one that really stands out is Mission TV, which they call Twitch for Real-World Impact. Imagine people live streaming their progress on a mission, like a local cleanup project, and getting tips and support in real time. It kind of turns social change into engaging entertainment. Then you've got gamified tools for organizing, and even an open layer for developers to build their own apps on top of it. But maybe the most important piece is the virtual encyclopedia. It takes over 6 million Wikipedia articles and puts them on a 3D global map, creating this immersive, verifiable source of information so that every single mission is grounded in solid facts.
Okay, but a tool this powerful for coordinating action, it raises a huge question, right? What stops it from being used for something destructive or to divide people? This is a big one. And the platform's answer is a very specific, very rigid safeguard that's baked right into its core design. And here's how that safeguard works. The system is governed by a DAO. That's a decentralized autonomous organization. Just think of it like a digital co-op, led by the community with no central boss. Now here's the crucial part. It's a non-token DAO. See, in a lot of these systems, the more crypto tokens you own, the more votes you get. It's basically wealth equals power. This system throws that out completely. Instead, it relies entirely on community consensus, not on how much money you have in your wallet. So before any mission can get off the ground, it has to go through this really transparent, multi-step process. First, the community identifies a problem. Then, there's a brainstorming phase to come up with all kinds of potential solutions. And then, this is the most important part, the community has to find consensus on the single best way forward. Only after all that can an action actually be launched. And that whole consensus process, it's all governed by one ultimate principle.
It's borrowed from the amazing inventor and futurist Buckminster Fuller. And it's this: any action the platform takes must make the world work for 100% of humanity without ecological offense or the disadvantage of anyone. So yeah, it has to work for everyone, and critically, it can't put anyone at a disadvantage. That's a high bar.
You can see how this 100% rule acts as a really powerful filter, especially for divisive issues. Let's just take the example from the source material: abortion. A mission to ban it fails the test because it disadvantages people who need access. Okay, what about a mission to mandate it? That fails too because it disadvantages those with religious objections. So the system rejects these win-lose ideas. It forces the community to find a solution that helps everyone and hurts no one, like focusing on things like universal access to contraception, better education, and real support systems for parents.
So this built-in filter, this 100% rule, it leads to what the creators are arguing is a totally new model for how we govern ourselves. And their argument goes something like this: a dictatorship? Well, that works for a tiny, tiny fraction of people. A democracy, even at its very best, works for the 51% majority. But Cloud Atlas OS is built with this one stark constraint. It has to work for 100% of people, or it just doesn't work at all. It's a system that, by its very design, is not supposed to be able to create a losing side. And to make sure that this core principle can never be corrupted, the whole platform is built to be resilient and decentralized. It's open source, it's held by a nonprofit foundation, just like Wikipedia or the Linux operating system. And what that means is that no single corporation, no government, no individual can ever own it or control it. Ever. So when you get right down to it, Cloud Atlas OS is way more than just an app. It's a provocation. It's asking a really profound question. What if? What if we already have all the tools we need to solve our biggest problems? What if the real barrier isn't that we lack power, but that we just lack coordination? And could a system that actually forces us to work for the benefit of everyone, could that really be the key to unlocking the golden cage?